What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Transparency. It is a Tuesday night. Come on in. Come on in. Those of you guys that caught it earlier, there was a pre-release to an episode that I dropped in the Dr. Drake, Dr. Moore case. Tonight it's the same video, but you get me pausing at different points to explain some things, especially those of you guys that are trying to catch up and be part of this case, and to see that an innocent man in Dr. Moore does not see any jail time in a criminal case, but what he's facing right now is a civil suit and a wrongful death because Jennifer Drake sued Dr. Moore. So, and that case is right around the corner in January of 2025. So it's getting there. Thank you, moderators, subscribers, members, for being in here, letting all those notifications pop off. But hello to everybody. Tonight, after this, I do have a live set for 10 p.m., which is information that I was trying to get for a long time in the Idaho 4 case. And I finally received my FOIA request. It was a FOIA request that was on the date of finding the white Honda Elantra. So I'll be bringing that to you guys at about 10 right after this. So, oh, we definitely have some cowbells in here. Where's my cowbell? Yeah, if you want me to. Yeah. Cheers. So let's take a look. Here we go. Again, it's the murder of Brian Drake. It's the obvious suspect is the name of this little series I put together. So let's see. MG, congratulations. You are a member here. Woo! Make it pop, make it rain. Hey, JLR said he was ended to Springfield, I think. Oh, you mean headed to Springfield? Probably. He knows where Lana's at. So here we go. Let's do this. Again, come on in. Welcome. Let's take a look. Special guest we have here.
Hi, girlfriends. I am officially caught up. And I'm sorry, I see Michelle in here, but I have to speak. So this is going to be that Marco that I'm going to actually get you caught up on what happened. And
all right. So when she says this is going to be that Marco, there is an app called Marco Polo. Jennifer and her friends, as well as her family, as well as Brian, you can download the app Marco Polo. So that's what she means when she says the word, this Marco or whatever. Marco is an app. It's kind of like it's a social app. You can send messages, and oh my God, I forgot all about Marco Polo. Yep, Jennifer Drake was a big Marco Poloer. So just want everybody to know that.
I feel like I really have to do this because Amy has gone into the realm of guessing. And now I really feel like I need to set you guys straight.
Also, this was a Marco Polo, so that means like she's creating this video and nobody's on the other end like watching it at the time that she's creating it. Nobody is, it gets like she makes it and then she sends it. This was literally 36 hours before the death of her husband. When I say the death, the murder of her husband. So
great. There is no more dancing around this. I am literally sitting here doing my taxes, but I realized, okay, see, here we are.
All right. Well, when she says that she's doing her taxes, I want everybody to be clear about this. This would be the day that she starts blowing up Brian's phone via text, via phone calls, and that she doesn't do their taxes. They have a tax guy, all right, an accountant, and he does their taxes. And Brian, this is a Wednesday, and Brian works, if ever, when he does work on Wednesdays, it's in Hayden, and it's a couple patients. And then, so she wanted him to come home and to grab these, basically like these receipts, whatever I'm printing up, for then you to go give them to our tax guy. Okay. So when you say that when she said that she's doing the taxes, no, they have an accountant, and Brian Drake. So she's not doing anything. So I have no idea why her happy ass didn't take this paperwork on over to their accountant, right?
But I realized that I can't do this with this behind me. So I'm going to take a break. I find a lot of comfort and consolation in the fact that Amy thinks that I'm a superwoman, and that you do think that I go through so many things so well. Even though, like she said, I'm on here and I'm about to actually spread some stress to my sweet sister, Laura.
When she says my sweet sister Laura, that's her like Christ sister. It's not her like, that's my sister, blood, like we came out the mom's womb type shit. Okay.
But it's not, because I get to tell you about the story of redemption here. So if you guys are busy, you need to just go ahead and bypass this. I'll try not to make it long, but I do feel like I need to tell you the details, because this is not an easy or small little, anyways. So this last fall into winter, there was a season where I don't think I was on here for like, I don't know, a long time. And it was because
when Jennifer says seasons, that's her referring to like a period of time. So like, I don't even know who says that, but
we were in a season. And how it started is that Brenner came into our room one night. It's always, the times that we always talk are always the times, you guys know how this goes, it's bedtime. And somehow, one by one, they conglomerate onto our bed, and we get into these deep discussions. And as a parent, you want those discussions, so you don't want to send them to bed, and yet there's that fine line of going, okay, seriously, it's bedtime. And now they kind of, they dance around it, so you have to say it 5 times because you love that time with them, but they kind of feed off of each other. And then, like, there are times you're like, okay, do I really, these are really, we have great biblical discussions at that time of night. And so then they end up so tired in the morning, and they should be getting their rest, because that's how they grow. As Amy says, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, I loved that. I'm going to have, if you're okay with it, I'm going to have Brian listen to that, Marco, because that was really good information. I cannot believe they actually have a teething ring that actually measures the size of a child's penis. I can so imagine. And
yeah, she just said what y'all thought she said. They have a teething ring that measures the size of a child's penis. The fuck? I've never seen anything like that in my life. Okay. What is she talking about? Oh my God, look at the way I paused that. Oh my God. Yeah. That's probably a view right there. Okay. Yep. I don't even know how to, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that what she said was, yeah, that there was a teething ring that measured the size of a kid's penis. And like, that's just normal.
then I did want to get on here, Laura, if you're actually listening. I should just get on to another one so you don't have to listen to it all this. But I am so praying. When my thing went off this morning, I'm praying for you, Laura. Here's my biggest prayer.
When she says when my thing went off this morning, now I have no idea what she means by like her thing going off this morning. But I will say this, on the day of the murder, March 12th, the day right after this day, Jennifer Drake, for some godly reason, decides to at 5:30 in the morning, take her phone and take a picture of an SD card. Like an SD card, like something you would put like in like a camera. Okay. She takes a picture of an SD card at 5:30 in the morning on 5/12/2020. Who the fuck does that? I've never done that in my life. Why are you taking a picture of an SD card at 5:30 in the morning on the day that your husband would be murdered? it's in a package. It's still like it hasn't even been open, allegedly, like the way that it looks.
Is it, even though you're in Montana and you're with your friend, or you're with Kenai and with the aunt, I'm actually praying that this is a really good time of rest and relaxation, because Kenai is your sole focus for a week. I'm assuming, I think you said, not assuming, I think you actually said you're there for a week. So you literally have the aunt and Kenai. And this lady you get to speak into, I'm praying, maybe this is the whole reason you have Kenai, is to lead this lady to the Lord. Seriously. And, hopefully you're going to get some good rest and relaxation there, because you have another woman's help who's hopefully making meals. You don't have your whole family to speak into and to feed and to, just deal with. And that maybe this will help you. It does make me worry a little bit, because I have that adrenal fatigue and I totally get cold sores. And so if you've been like that cautionary tale for me as I'm listening to you going, oh my goodness, I could be there. And, just.
All right. I do want to say this, like, normally what you would see here is that if Jen Drake always made these types of 32-minute videos for her friends on Marco Polo that are loving Christ the way that she loves Christ and hides behind Christ, in my opinion, and this should be like a normal occurrence for Jen, that she's just sending out these videos, but it's not. This is not something that is found every week in Jen's, routine. This is something that Jen does not put out 32-minute videos like this. And again, this happens 36 hours before her husband will be murdered. Okay.
All of us trying to figure out what it is that works with our health. Let's go full circle. I do this way too much. I know tangents. Focus. Here's what happened. Months ago, I'm now mad that I didn't journal and I didn't write about this, because I think that if I were to go back and see, I can see in my brain how the Lord just did work through this, but still, I told you already this, that the importance of journaling. So I have my kids now have started journaling every single night. It's mandatory for 10 minutes. See, I went on another tangent. All because I think
it's mandatory that her kids journal every night for 10 minutes. So then there should be journals, right, of all of these kids journaling. And after the police would have seen this, right, this video, you'd have been like, I want to take a look at those kids' journals. I want to see what was going on in that house, right? I want to see what was up in that household, right? But then when you would have come to the kids and they'd be like, journals? What are you talking about? We don't have journals. We don't journal. Or maybe they do, and you got to see their journals. But you would think that it would be something that a cop would be like, well, they have some, let's see. Like, maybe they're going to talk about mommy and daddy fighting all the time. I don't know. But let's see what's up.
This is important. It's part of, okay, back. I am so sorry, you guys. Oh, my brain.
Who makes these videos? This is a homemade motherfucking video, man. Like,
I think it's like I don't even want to go there. So my family doesn't know any of this.
Would you guys swipe right on this video if she posts this on Tinder?
My mom and dad know a little bit that when it first started, but then we didn't go into anything after that. And I don't even know why. I know why. It's because I haven't with you guys. It's just because it was deep. I didn't really want input. We prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed through this. And we didn't want to deal with everybody else's opinions, because we really wanted to deal with this as a family. And I don't know that even Asher, I think Asher knows a little bit, because we really did have a talk about all this. But at one point, Brenner came into us and said, I need you to know, and he kind of started crying a little bit, and he goes, I need you to know I'm struggling. He said, and the great news is that he came to us out of the blue, and it was last fall. School had already started, trying to think of the details here. And he had come to us and said, I needed to let you know that I vaped.
This is about her son vaping. Okay. Vaping. And he let you know that I vaped. Okay.
I was at work. There's a lot of young adults that vape and they go on their breaks. And he goes, they kept asking me and I would say no. And he's like, at one point I decided to vape.
They kept asking me like, here, you want to vape? You want to vape? Or you sure don't want to vape? You sure don't want to vape? You sure don't want to vape?
And so he said, I've actually been vaping off and on while at work. Here we are thinking this is such a great workplace. And
why wouldn't it be such a great workplace? How does work or the place or the boss have anything to do with this?
And he said, I feel horrible. I'm really sorry. And I just felt like I felt so convicted and I needed to come to you, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, I got a little teary, but we had a really good discussion. And at the time, he was like, I think I want to quit. And I said, well, let Brian and I think about that.
Let Brian and I think about that. That's where I said, boom, for me. For me, that was a huge boom. I saw it in text messages through them various times. And Brenner refers to his siblings as the kids. Your dad is let me talk to Brian. No, if you're telling this story, you're going to say, I told Brenner, let me talk to your dad. Let me talk to your dad. But then this makes perfect sense with how Jennifer talks and how Brenner talks to her. And he's always like, hey, did the kids get picked up from, the croc? Did the kids this? Did the kids that? Why would a 16-year-old be referring to his literally 14 and 12, like 2-year apart siblings as the kids? Okay. In writing his mom text messages to say, where are the kids? I just got home. Where are the kids? Now, that could be one of two things. Either Brenner's not the one that's texting on Brenner's phone, or that's just absolutely fucking not normal. You don't refer to your siblings that would be 2 years younger than you and then 4 years younger than you. And then even if they were 6 years younger than you, you are never going to say that, hey, mom, where are the kids? Did the kids get picked up today? Kids this, kids that. Hey, where's everybody at? Hey, where's their names? Hey, where are the kids? Excuse me?
And pray through this. But how do you feel now that you've confronted this? And we asked him, was it peer pressure? Is it curiosity? What was all this? And he had only done it a couple times. And I remember Brian going, you're going to face this in life. And if you feel like you're strong enough, I'd like you to consider staying at this job. And when we made that decision, you're going through things for the first time and you just don't know what the wisdom is. We prayed about it. Wait,
so he tells you about this, and then you, as his parent, keep him in the environment that you are just losing your shit about? Like, excuse me? If you thought this was such a bad environment, when you would have first heard about this, you wouldn't have been like, you need to face your demons to a 16-year-old, 15-year-old. You wouldn't, excuse me? Nobody is going to agree with Jennifer Drake there and saying, oh yeah, I could see her saying that. I could see myself saying that. Like, yeah, my kid needs to fucking buckle, beef up, boy. You need to be able to handle that. If somebody asks you if you want to vape, you better be able to say no. Versus, I don't want to work there anymore. Like, it's just not the vibe I want. No!
And I noticed that he was still just hesitant to going to work. He used to love going to work. He used to just be so excited.
But also we have to find out if this is truly even what happened, right? Like maybe she's just making up this whole fucking story, right?
There was really that was just gone. And fast forward a month or two, because this was before the holidays. It was after, I think it was between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So this added to everything because, of course, we're going through traditions. We're going through so.
Oh, that would have been during Thanksgiving and Christmas. That would have been as you were receiving $500 to $600 of pop donations for your husband's back being surgery worked on. And what did you do with 75 people giving you $300 to $600 per pop? What did you do with that money? So you made your son work when you were just raking in the coals of cash.
So much. And I just remember it was during a time that talk about adrenal fatigue. That's probably would have been my time. But at one point, Brian was gone. And I don't remember how this is why I wish I would have journaled, because I don't remember how this actually came up. But at some point, Brenner came in to me. I'd asked him a question, and he came in, and I'm by myself.
This would have been on a night that Brian wasn't there. You're by yourself. Okay.
I don't remember why I was down in the kitchen. I just remember maybe he told me up in my bedroom, and then
my bedroom, not our bedroom. Everything's mine, my kids, my bedroom. It's very, 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 very bad language.
Talked about it down in the kitchen, but he ended up telling me that he had started vaping again.
Woo!
But this time, somebody had put something in it.
Oh, fucking love it, Jesus. Somebody had put something in it. A bag of dicks. They put a bag of dicks right in that fucking vape. And I had never wanted to see a dick more in my life than after that moment. I knew I was hooked. I don't know how that works. I've never vaped. How do you put something in the vape? Or would it be that like it was already put in the vape versus like somebody put something in it? Would you like buy it like already like juiced up with like weed, or how does that work? I don't know. I'm not a vapor.
And he came home so sick. He's like, Mom, I thought I was going to die. And as he's telling me this, I struggle with this more than anything anyways, because I know my brother. And, he started with marijuana at the age of 15, and Brenner's 15 during this time. He just turned 16 in February. And he said somebody put something in it. I think it was the HTC, whatever that stuff is with marijuana. And he said, I came home and I went straight to bed, and I just was so sick and it scared me. And part of me is mortified. You know how if you were dealing with this, a million things are going through my brain. Like the first time I'm thinking, how do I know this? And I'm even asking him this. I'm like, how did I not know? How did I not see this? Now, it only happened once that he ended up where they put something in it. He ended up really, really sick. And for some reason, I just remember he told me some of it down in the kitchen. And at some point, I looked at him, he's like this far, and I just went to give him a hug, and he just kind of fell on me, and we sobbed and sobbed and sobbed in the kitchen. It was just him and I just hugging and sobbing, and he just he wouldn't let go. And I was mortified. I was horrified. I was mad. I was so mad at his boss, who we know. I was so.
Why the fuck are you mad at his boss? I don't understand. Did the boss, correct me, did the boss do this? I was so mad at his boss. Jen, you're going to have, do you see where she just totally Like, think about the Dr. Moore case, okay? She just totally fucking places her fuckerage on other motherfucking people. Jen, okay? That boss did nothing. He doesn't know what the fuck they're doing on their goddamn breaks, okay? And for you to, I'm so mad at his boss. What does his boss have anything to do with this unless he is supplying your son with fucking marijuana vaped up vapes? You are just totally blaming somebody that isn't blamable, but you're going to blame them anyways. Just like Dr. Mo. I mean, it's crazy. This is absolute craziness. I'm going to be mad at the boss here because god damn it, my son was vaping at work. What? And how do these people on the opposite end watching this shit just like, yeah, you're right, Jen. Then they're just as fucked up, man. Laura, whoever the fuck's on the other end of this bullshit.
I'm mad at these punks who are all young adults. And here's a 15-year-old that somebody has preyed on. And he told him no several times. And he's like, every time I go on a break, that's what they're doing. I'm like,
and they're just like, you better take my vape and you better fucking hit it. You guys, I have never, ever in my life seen somebody say, like, here, you better, like, no, nobody wants to share their shit. They're like, yeah, good. If you don't want it, that's more for me. Like, this is not even true, you guys. She is just making shit the fuck up. This is unbelievable to me. But her little cuckoo head.
Somewhere else. Somebody who's not. Anyways, long story short, we really prayed and prayed about it. And here's what happened. Here's the long story of it. Is that he actually asked one of them, before he got really sick, the bigger story is he had asked one of them to go buy him one. He ended up with his own vapor. We have an open door policy in our house.
Vapor! He ended up with his own vapor. I know something like a Viper, you know, those cars, but he ended up with a vapor. I just had to. You guys.
Doors are never to be closed unless they're getting dressed.
We have an open door policy here. You are not to close that door. If you close that door, okay, you are only to close your door if you need to get changed real quick. Okay? No doors are getting closed. You walk around.
Really quickly. There's no reason there's no reason why we ever made that. They just know there's an open door policy, period. They don't close their doors.
Is that like with bathrooms? I'm just curious. Like, what's an open door policy mean? Like, is that like you're in Brian's room was a closed open door as well? Like they would have like, you know, I'm just curious.
And he would vape at night after we would pray with them, complete dark. And vaping now has it in things to where you can't smell it. There is no smell. It's not like smoking. You can't smell anything. And so at one point, he was vaping, and I guess Hudson walked in on him. And this is when we didn't know this was happening. And the fact that he even brought it into this house. And so we're clueless.
Damn you.
Hudson walks in on him, says, dude, what are you doing? Is that what I think it is? So Hudson.
He walked in on him in the open door policy of the house.
Hudson finds out. He's like, get rid of it. Get rid of it. He's like, I will. I totally will.
Your younger
this
brother.
This was before the time that he got.
The guy that the kid that he says, where are the kids at? Where are the kids at? What are the kids doing? You think he's gonna just listen to his who he's calling? Where are the kids at? Where are the kids at? The fuck out of here. Nobody believes this shit, but this is what a storyteller she is. Because it matters in this case. She's a storyteller. I'm a girl watcher.
Got really sick. This is all coming out to me though, after he and I are bawling in the kitchen. We sit down, we pray, we talk through it. We just had a really, really good time connecting and talking through it all. But what he's telling me this story, because then I pulled Hudson in. Because Hudson Brenner's telling me I said, how did this all happen? Tell me everything that's led up to this. How did we get here? And so it wasn't just that he started vaping there, then he quit. But then he started again, asked somebody to buy him one, because when he was telling me he had his own, I'm like, how in the world did you do that? How did you buy that? He has a card, but we know where he goes all the time. We have 360 on his phone.
We know where he goes all the time. We have 360 on his phone.
He never goes to stores unless it's to get gas. And even at that time, he was literally just going there and back. Oh, that was the time. Actually, I don't even know that he was driving. I think I was still taking him because it was dark at night and stuff. Anyway, the whole thing was that I couldn't fathom how he was getting it. He was like, yeah, I asked one of them and they went ahead and got me one. So I'm so mad about this. And I'm trying in everything not to be mad. I am trying to I am keeping my cool. I'm like asking questions. Tell me about this. This is after all of this, and I kind of fall apart. And they know the story of Andrew. They know Andrew's story. And this is not
Andrew is her brother, who she just blasts in this fucking video. Andrew, she claims, is this drug heathen fucking addict. God damn you, Andrew. You are such a fucking drug addict, and you will do nothing more than do magic shows and sleep on fucking couches. Wait for it. But Andrew is her brother. Jennifer Drake is the product of a pastor's wife. I mean, daughter.
Of ignorance, because we've talked about drugs so many times. We've talked about, what do you do when this happens, et cetera, et cetera. What do you do when somebody offers it to you? Even the first time he had told us, what do you do? How do you be proactive about this rather than being in a place of peer pressure? And Brenner's always been our kid that, like how he just taught, he's got so much biblical knowledge. He loves Jesus with all his heart. This is like something that is the farthest thing that we could have ever thought. So Hudson comes in, he's like, dude, get rid of it. He's like, I will, I totally will. Well, I don't know if it was the same day or the next day. Brenner was gone. He was somewhere in the house. I don't know. And the reason I know this was probably around November is because October.
This video is made, remember, this is just 36 hours before Brian Drake will be murdered. And so she's talking about November here, maybe like November 2019. So when she wants to say that like Brian wasn't around and all this shit, Brian was at home for 6 to 8 weeks straight at home because he had back surgery. So again, I would just love to know when this little chatty chat happened, Jenny Pooh, with like Brenner and all this crap, because Brian was home because he didn't work because he had back surgery. He didn't work from August 28th, 27th, 26th, all the way up until October like 13th or 15th. So these stories, Jennifer, you're just going to have to try to keep it all together, but it's just going to crumble, baby doll. It's just going to crumble because my brain here.
November, because we were late in getting all of our leaves up, and we were raking leaves, and we had tons of bags of leaves outside, and half of them were open because we weren't done with them. Well, Hudson, behind Brenner's back, went into his room, dug through his stuff, grabbed his vaping thing and all of his drugs, and took them downstairs. And
all of his drugs? What the fuck? If he has a vape, it's like a vape. It's a pen. All of his drugs. What type of drugs are we talking about? All of his drugs. He takes all of his drugs. All of his drugs. It's a little thingy. All of his drugs. All of his drugs.
Hid them in a big bag of leaves and just walked on. Mind you, this had happened months before we knew anything, right?
Mind you, this never happened, okay? Because Jen was recording them raking the leaves, okay? And she recorded them raking these leaves, and there was no drugs in these leaf piles, okay? So the reason I put this in this episode that I did is because this is Jennifer Drake literally telling a story that's not even fucking true. And you have to, like, well, Lana, you're saying none of this is true? Well, the only person that could honestly combat certain parts is like, well, Brenner would have to be the person that says, yeah, no, that's not happened at all. And that's not how I told my mom or anything like that. But there's certain things that I was able to do, which is I can tell you that Jennifer Drake recorded them raking those leaves, and there was no drug pile underneath those leaves. In fact, there was a daughter popping out of those leaves. So unless the daughter was rolling around with the drugs in the leaves, then yeah. But this is just absolutely craziness that she's telling these stories 36 hours before the murder of her husband. These lies, this life that you don't have.
Literally, sweet little Hudson says nothing. He goes and hides it. And Brian gathers up all the leaves, has clueless, gathers up,
why would Brian gather up the goddamn leaves? He just had back surgery, motherfucking bitch. Why the fuck would Brian be gathering up a goddamn thing and y'all letting him? He literally just had back surgery. Brian's gathering the leaves. Well, that's not in the video at all. Why would you? Do you guys listen to this shit?
Gathers up all the bags, ties them all up, sticks them in the truck, takes them off to the dump. We're still clueless.
What truck? You guys have a truck now? What truck are you speaking of? You don't have a truck. Are you referring to your expedition? Because I think it's interesting that you would be talking about a truck. I would never call my SUV a truck, but I'd love to know what truck you're talking about here.
And even now, as I'm telling you this story, this is the first time I've actually relayed this story again, somehow he ends up with another one. And I don't realize why. Because I know Hudson threw one away with his stuff, drugs. Well, at the time, I still don't know anything about this. So he goes to work. Apparently, he must have gotten another one, gets some more. And he comes home. Anyways, at some point within that story is when he feels so convicted. And he tells me this. He's like, I will never, ever forget this. And this is now part of his story. He goes behind Ross and he sits there and he's like praying. He's like, God, I have to get rid of this. This is horrible. I'm becoming addicted. This was after he had the big scare and he still hadn't told me. And he was sitting there and this pull of, I need to get rid of this. So behind Ross has a big dumpster and he's standing there outside the car and he knows he's going to get rid of it. And he's like, but there's this pull in me like, no, keep it. You paid for it. No, you want to, no, I should throw it away.
Oh my God, she's doing like the devil versus like, God, don't do it. Do it, man. Don't. Is she like, what? Dude, the cops had this day one. Day one, the cops had this. The cops had this, and they would have watched this and said, what the fuck is going on with this woman? Or like, God, she's such a holy roller. God, I can't believe all these life obstacles, and then poof, her husband's just murdered.
And he goes, all of a sudden this truck comes up and it's an older man and he goes to get out of his truck and he says, I was like all of a sudden scared and worried because I'm standing there by myself. And he's like, so I immediately just threw it in the dumpster, got in the car and drove off. And he's like, and as I'm driving off, I'm like, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. He's like, I'm done. Well, this is when he comes home because he's so convicted and he comes and tells.
He's so convicted. He has to come home and tell you about what kid would ever go through that type of trouble, but then come home and tell his mother about that. That doesn't make any sense, Jennifer. But what it's trying to make you seem like is that your kids come to you and will tell you anything.
Me. And I'm home by myself. Brian is gone. And it's again, all these.
But really, was Brian gone? Because Brian was flat on his motherfucking back. So when did this all happen? Because he had back surgery. He's just laying on his back, not doing a damn thing up in Coeur d'Alene.
Layers, because then I'm mad because Brian's gone. Because we still haven't.
I'm just mad because Brian's gone. Wait, this is like the another like pow boom boom. I'm like mad. Like Brian's not here. I'm mad. Ready? Here.
Figured out how to get him home to where he's home while my boys are dealing with these things. And I don't want to be the only person that's dealing with this. I mean,
like we need to figure out how to get Brian home. Like we can't have him out in Bonner's Ferry anymore. So we need to take a shot at his ass. Okay. We need to figure out how to get him home. Like I don't want him in Bonner's Ferry because I'm not dealing with this stuff on my own.
I know that Brian's home the next day and the next night, but I actually texted him and I said, you have to come home tonight. I said, I know you're an hour, 45 minutes away. You've got to go back up tomorrow. I need you home tonight. You have to come home tonight.
I cannot wait for you to show the jury where that text message even exists about any of this shit.
We have to deal with some things together. So after Brenner and I have these issues, he tells me about, he finally gets...
After Brenner and I have these issues. Brenner and I have what issues? This is Brenner's issue, it looks like. But I don't know what issues you have with Brenner. But maybe I'll have some issues because that would not surprise me.
Gets rid of it. And finally, that's when I was like, I am so sorry that we made you go back to work. You obviously weren't ready. There was no foundation there. And Brian and I, even when we were praying with Brenner, which we did, like many nights in a row, just talking through this and praying over it and crying over it. And we pulled Hudson into it.
You're just all these sleepless nights praying over this. Praying over what?
And said, Hudson, tell me, did you know that he was vaping like that? Well, then Hudson tells us the story of what he did. Brenner didn't even know that Hudson had gone in and got his vaping stuff and gone and put it. He actually went in, took his stuff and got rid of it and never said a word to a soul. Walked out and went on with his life. So we're sitting there telling Hudson, because Hudson's telling us the story after Brenner is telling us all that happened. And we're like, Brenner told us that you knew he was doing this, that you saw him. Well, yeah, I did. This is what I did. And he tells us, and I'm like floored because here's my son who I used to be more worried about than Brenner, because Brenner is a little more, wears his Christianity on his sleeve, whereas Hudson...
Where's his Christianity on his sleeve? Dear Lord, woman. Oh. What? Oh, God. I got so many things to say about that. It's coming, man.
Hudson's a lot more reserved. He's the music. He will sing from the top of his lungs because he loves his worship music. But he's more reserved. He's more not hungering like Brenner does when it comes to even biblical stuff. He's just the more subdued. And so here's this kid who, even since then, has done several things that I've seen him do that I'm like, he's the kid who doesn't care about peer pressure. He's like, you're an idiot. Not to Brenner, but, to people who are like, offer him something. Something else happened about a month ago, and he looks at this whole group of basketball people, and he's going, you're idiots. Like, he was so mad because they did something horrendous. And he's telling me as he's walking out, and he's so mad. And I'm like, this kid who I was worried about is the one who's, Brenner more cares about the peer pressure and the curiosity, whereas Hudson, he's like me, to where, no, I have no desire to smoke a cigarette. I have no desire to do drugs. That's never been my issue. I've never had a temptation. You know what I'm talking about.
So Jennifer has never had a temptation in her life. All right. That's very interesting. Because she's definitely tempted to look into her husband's phone every night. And then she finally got popped on the night before this whole thing happened right here. The night before this, Jennifer would be tempted to grab Brian's phone and type in 5 different times a passcode that was but she's never been tempted to do a damn thing, right? I think she would be the first one voted off on Temptation Island. I think she'd be the first one voted off on Big Brother. I think that nobody would want to team up with this broad.
Some people, it's this curiosity, this temptation. Some of the rest of us, I think that's how, like, some people are drawn to an addiction because that's harder for them. And some people who are like, I have no desire. I have no problem. Like, I really actually can't fathom the part of addictions for people. For me, it's just a black and white. You just don't do.
There you have it. She can't fathom addictions. So her husband being addicted to alcohol, her husband being addicted to porn, her husband being addicted to females or sex or whatever. She can't handle the word addiction. It's like, there is no such thing as addiction. Like, don't do it. Like, it's that simple. It's black or white. Like, there is no gray. Okay. She does not believe that there is such a thing as addiction. And she's like, it's just, I don't like, you're like, these are her words. And Jen has an addiction to lying. Jen is a compulsive fucking liar. Jen has an addiction to, I think that she was addicted to Brian, and Brian didn't like, I mean, people can think like, oh, he just loved her. Fuck shit. Yeah. All right. There you go, Jen. Hi. She's addicted to control. This bit, I'm a dick. I'm addicted to you. She's like, what?
Do it. Like, I have a sugar addiction, but even then, you're like, okay, I'm going off sugar for a month. You do it. You just go off of it for a month. It's hard, but yeah, I still can't fathom an addiction.
I can't fathom an addiction. I can't fathom that. It's very interesting what she will say to the cops when they want to talk about the word addiction, about her husband's addiction to, like, alcohol. Like, no, like, I was with him all the time. He wasn't, like, there was no addictions. Like, I was with him. How could he be doing anything? Like, she associates the word with addiction as, like, fucking, that is the lowest thing that you could ever, like, if you're you're fucking nasty.
To me, it's stupid. Well, it's a mind thing. Here's the difference between my two boys. Like, we learned so much about him. So as he's telling me these things, I'm looking at him going, I love you. I am so proud of you for sticking up for your brother and for protecting him, for standing up to him. But next time, you better come in and tell us. This is your place. Part of that protection is you learning that part of loving him is you coming to authority or coming to your parents and you saying, here's what's happening, because it could have gone so much worse. And then Brian and I both praying and feeling convicted and horrible in the fact that, okay, we didn't have the wisdom. And here we are thinking, like, this is the discussion we had. I'm like, I'm literally in tears as Brian and I are talking about this just together. And I'm like, I have done so much to protect my kids from movies and from music and from friends and from, like, we are so serious about making sure that the Satan does not come through our floorboards.
I about hit the floor with that. I said, oh my God. Shut the fuck up. I said, wait a second. Satan is, we have pretended our kids are the Satan coming through the floorboards. I said, I pissed myself. You guys, all right? What in the fuck? All right, this is Tina, what the fuck, Translation Services. And what the fuck are you talking about, girl? I'm gonna need you to say that one more time, baby. Down, let me hear it one more time. Okay, all right. You guys, what in the actual fuck did we just hear? Well,
coming to authority or coming to your parents and you saying, here's what's happening, because it could have gone so much worse. And then Brian and I both praying and feeling convicted and horrible in the fact that, okay, we didn't have the wisdom. And here we are thinking, like, this is the discussion we had. I'm like, I'm literally in tears as Brian and I are talking about this just together. And I'm like, I have done so much to protect my kids from movies and from music and from friends and from we are so serious about making sure that the Satan does not come through our floorboards.
I'm dead. Do you guys know how many times I replayed that shit? Oh my God. Wait, first of all, wait a second. Why are you protecting your kids from Friends? Number one, are you talking about the movie or the TV show Friends? Or are you talking about your friends? Who needs to protect anybody from Friends? Your friends, your friends. Okay, number one. Number two, Satan, we have movies and music? Are you insane? We have protected our kids from movies and music. Wait, what type of music and movies are you referring to? Because what? Friends? We have tried to keep Satan out of our floorboards. Bitch, you don't lost your fucking mind! This is insanity! This is absolutely this is amazing to me. I didn't sleep. I played this 40 times. Fuck, I made it a goddamn short. I said, this is fucking tits right here. Jennifer Drake, girl, I will hold your hand because we're going to take that ship down, girl. We are going to take that ship down.
Here we are thinking, this is the discussion we had. I'm literally in tears as Brian and I are talking about this just together. And I'm like, I have done so much to protect my kids from movies and from music and from friends and from we are so serious about making sure that the Satan does not come through our floorboards. And then we're like, go back to work. Go to that place and be strong. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? To even put him in that place before
The only three things she can come up with is movies, music, and friends. What the fuck? Are your friends pedophiles? What the fuck, Jen? And actually, guys, you wouldn't believe it if I didn't tell you, but I'm gonna tell you. Jennifer Drake was looking up sex offenders, okay, and she was taking pictures of sex offender reports. Don't know who they belong to. I just cannot fucking believe that she brings up three things: friends, movies, and music, and then struggles to think of something else when she's just fucking just blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, and Satan through our floorboards. We have done everything to keep Satan from coming through our floorboards. And that, my friends, that just completely sent me on a different path for the past 2 days. I have literally been spinning around in giddy mode because I can't fucking believe Jennifer Drake. Do you understand if I was to ever write or say to my friends in a video that I am trying to keep Satan out of my floorboards, people would write me saying, ha 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 ha, Lana, you are so fucking funny. They wouldn't be like, oh my God. Amen. What the fuck did the Idaho State Police do? I want to know when they heard this. Were they just wait, she's trying to protect her kids from friends? Maybe we need to look at some of these friends that could have possibly killed Brian. Okay? You guys, think about how crazy this is. Why would you need to keep your children safe from your friends? How does that even roll off the tongue? Is it because all of your friends are into weird ass shit? Okay? And God, we know what they do, but we have to keep an eye on them. But we still have to be friends with them because we're involved in this fuckerage of life. Like, think about that, man. Just think about that. There is no way in hell that I would ever say to my friends that I need to protect my kids from my friends. That's insanity. That is not even... That deserves a padded room. Cheers, Jennifer. I will hold your hand. This is absolutely, like, it's just crazy.
He's ready. And then we come full circle to go, at the time, probably a month into it, God, thank you so much for letting this happen while we got to speak into him. For letting us being able to rally together and even
speak into him. Like, thank you, God, for this happening now where he is still listening, that we got to speak into him. Fuck talks like this.
Like, Amy, it's never too late. But our Sundays have become so precious that even our kids...
Thank God he didn't die on a Sunday. I mean, thank God we waited. Thank God we waited.
On Sunday, he had like 4 friends. They were like, we can't be at our home doing this. Can we come to yours? We're going to bring the PS4 and we want to come to your house and do it on Sunday. He's like, no, dude, I'm with my family. It's our family day. And we just have so much fun together. And it is important to him as a 16-year-old that he gets to stay home. But the reason that is because I think it's moments like that, the things that we go through, and we go through as a family, we rally the wagons. It's like, let's get through this. Let's pray through this. We come so much closer. And the fact that I kept going, God, thank you so much that he came to us. That it wasn't something we found. He came to us and he's like, I just feel so convicted and I can't do this anymore. And I need your help. That was his whole thing. I need your help. So anyway, come full circle. So at that time we said, you need to quit. And Hudson had just started work. He had actually done 1 day of work at that place. All of a sudden, from the holidays on, they never called either of them in. And they were looking at the schedule.
Yeah, because they were some rats. They were like, we can't have those rats here. They're going to rat us all out in our vaping village. Like, we can't schedule these rats. Nobody wants to work with these rats, these snitches. What, Jennifer? Dude, your timeline is so fucked up. It's so fucked up, girl.
And like, they had been called in for like 2 months because
So would that mean that every time that Brenner was texting you that he needed a ride home from work, he really wasn't at work, Jennifer? Come on, girl. All this shit's coming out, baby, now. I love your timeline. It's just so not accurate.
Remodeling the whole place and almost shut down. So they needed like nobody from like January on. So Brian and I, over the last month and a half, 2 months since this has happened, I go, Brenner, Hudson were sitting in front of us. And I said, I think that as a family, we need to be praying that God gives you another job. And I want to pray that it's somebody from our church.
Oh, now this, guys, just so we know where she's going with this. This is where Dwayne Fish's interview, when I do play it, is going to literally obliviate what she is about to say right here, right now. Her version of events gets upended by Dwayne Fish's interview with police. Okay?
There are so many business owners in our church that surely some of them need 1 or 2 boys. And somebody who can speak over you, speak into you, love on you, be a mentor to you. But if we're so active about who you're...
Wait, so let me ask you guys a question. It's a one thing to like be involved with your church, but why would you want your job? Like, let's have you be with somebody that's gonna speak into you, love you. What the fuck are you talking about, Jen? The kids are going to work. You want them to be in an environment that's safe, okay? Safe. You want your kids to go to a safe environment to work, okay? To be respected, to be respectful, okay? To be taught something, like wherever they're going to go and work, that they are learning a trade, that they are learning responsibility, okay? Being accountable, all right? The finer things in life that make a person whole when they are older, okay? But what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, wait, let's see what you're talking about, Jen. You have not, we want them to be safe, and we want them to be held accountable. We want them to learn responsibility. We want them to make money so they understand what the worth of a dollar is and how hard it is when hey, you just want everything that you see, then you realize, oh shit, that shit costs money. Oh shit, this costs money. Next thing you know, it's like, yeah, all that stuff that you had, like that's what spoiled brats, that's how spoiled brats become when they don't know the dollar, the worth of it. Okay. But everything that you're speaking here, Jen, okay, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, honey.
Around, I want it to be something from the church. Let's pray about this. So we're praying, and about 2 weeks ago, I said to Brenner, maybe 3 weeks ago, I said, you need to get into Brett and you need to quit, because if you wait until they call you back in because the schedule starts getting busy, then you're going to have to give them 2 weeks, and you need to
see right there. She's smart, and she's thinking how my son can beat the system. You need to quit so that you don't, this 2-week notice, like, do you hear what she just told her son? She told him how to do what? Beat the system. The fuck, dude? You're
sit down, you need to tell them why. And I said, I believe Hudson should go in with you, even though it didn't deal with Hudson. I think you should have a witness. I'm not going with you.
I think you should have a witness.
I want you to do this yourself.
Is that why you went into your interviews with the police with your mommy? And you took your mommy into your, you pulled a Nicole Kessinger, honey. We call that a Nicole Kessinger around here. You went to your Idaho State Police interview with how many people? There was 3 people sitting in that room with you. Or you plus 2, actually, so 3 total. You didn't go with your son, but you took your mommy, didn't you? Chef's kiss, baby, it's coming.
16, this is something you should do on your own. He said, I agree. He was very...
I think you were 43. I think you could go into an interview by yourself.
Open to it. And I said, you need to tell him why. And he said, okay, I'll do that on Sunday. That was over a week. That was 2 weeks ago. And he's like, I'll do it this next Sunday. That week, we got a call from a good friend of ours who happens to be, there is Kid Island across from us. It's this property. It's 100 acres. He has this.
It's called Kid Island. It's 100 acres. It's in Coeur d'Alene. Okay. When I heard that, I was like, fucking A, you just can't make this shit up. Sending my kids to Kid Island where there's 100 acres of God knows what. Kid Island.
Unbelievably fathomable house. He doesn't even hardly live in it except in the summers. His family comes to it. But he has a guy from our church that lives there year round and caretakes for this unbelievable property that is just insane. And every year he hires, or he gets one helper. The guy gives him a budget for one helper. And this was like 2 weeks ago. So after I had said something to Brenner and Hudson and said, you need to go and quit and you need to do it together, la da da. I want to say,
see all the words she's using, like quit? You need to go quit. You need to go do it together. So is she saying that the opportunity for this new job came after, right? Or what? It came before they went and quit, right? So now your timeline's just royally fucked, Jen. Right? Love it. Love it. You're just telling these people so many fucking lies. I mean, I can't even keep track anymore, Jen. But I don't have to keep track because I just need to keep track of the lies that you told the police that I can prove.
It was within a couple of days we get this call, and he's a good friend of ours, and he's like, hey, I was wondering if Brenner has any desire, if he needs a job, and I was wondering if I could hire him to come out and help me for the summer.
So her version is that this guy asked if Brenner needed a job. Jen, you know that ain't true, motherfucker. I know that's not true. It's in text messages that it's not true. It is just not true, Jen. None of this is true. But I just love sitting here watching you perform. It's a performance. This is unfucking believable. But you had to sell it. Why? What's all in this that you had to sell?
So, of course, I get a little emotional. He doesn't know any of this story, none of it. And then I said, is there any chance you need 2 boys? Because actually Hudson needs a job too. He's like, well, the big guy only gives me, and he pays $15 an hour. He's like, he only gives me authority to hire 1 person. But I know we're having a meeting within a week. And so if that changes, I'll let you know. So we kept praying. He calls me back last Sunday and he said,
so then that would be reflecting in your phone records if he called you the Sunday before this, right? It would be reflective in your phone records, right, Jen? Woo, baby! Shake it, mama! I just sit here and I'm just like, this damn liar! This damn liar! Oh, Jen. Oh, honey poo. Just lying to what? Who? Why are you even talking to these people? Why are you making a 32-minute video 36 hours before your husband's about to be murdered? Okay. Ooh, baby. So your phone records should show that Dwayne Fish called you on the Sunday before.
Meeting with my boss, and I was like, hey, I have these 2 brothers and they both actually need a job. They both want to work. One of them's a couple years younger, and he's like, my boss was like, fine, hire him, because a big tree had just fallen on their house and they had so much work that they needed to do. And so he calls me, he's like, does Brenner and Hudson want to work? I'm like, no way. He hired them both. Now he did change the pay. Brenner's getting 10.
I'd be so pissed. I was supposed to get 15, Mom. You hoe me out for 50% less. I get 10, but we're bringing on your brother who's going to get 9. So the total is 19 versus the 15 that they would have just paid my motherfucking ass. Okay.
And Hudson's getting 9, which in minimum wage here is $7.25. And Hudson's starting at 9. So I'm like, dude, and listen to this. The only way to get to their house is by boat.
By boat. Only way to get there. This is true. This is a true statement.
So every Friday they get to work for him. He's oh my goodness, if you guys knew him, loves Jesus. Oh my goodness, loves Jesus. He is bringing people to the Lord all the time.
He loves Jesus. This is all she cares about. He loves Jesus. He's bringing people to the Lord all the time. Just so you guys know, I talked to Dwayne Fish. Okay? Told him I'm doing a documentary. Told him I'm an independent journalist. Wanted to talk to him about the Brian Drake murder if he was willing to talk to me. And he said, have you talked to Jennifer yet? Does Jennifer know that you're doing this? Just bending over for the Lord there, Dwayne, aren't you?
We've known them now for several years. They have to take a speedboat across to the resort where Brenner and Hudson, so they started working for him on Friday.
See where she did, like, that's just showing you guys, like, I'm not lying about the first day that they worked was the Friday before the Thursday that Brian was murdered. Okay. Why this is so important is you're going to hear what happens, what Jen and Brenner do upon hearing about Brian's taking a bullet. Their first worry, Brenner's, is to call Dwayne Fish and to say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to work tomorrow. But little did he know that his mom already told Dwayne Fish, Brenner's not going to work on Friday because he has tickets to the G3 concert. I totally forgot to tell you about that. But she can't keep her lies straight, and it's all going to end up in that ass. Like, I can't wait, Jennifer. Your lies, you're fucking sick. I'm Catholic, girl, and you using fucking Christ like this, fuck you. Fuck you, Jen. You thought that fucking JLR was a fucking bitch? Wait till I'm out there in Bonner saying, why'd you do it, Jen? Why'd you kill him, Jen?
And he brings a speedboat over, gets them, takes them over. They work on the property, whether it's wood, whether it's combing the beach because the sand has to be combed, raked just the proper way, etc., etc. And then during lunchtime, he's like, all summer long is like, bring your lunch. You guys can go swimming off the dock. We've got a speedboat, 2 speedboats. If we ever want to take downtime, la-da-da-da-da. I am telling you, this is the full circle. The full circle is the fact that the Lord just blessed them with an unbelievable job. They get to work together. They get to be outside on this property. He's working them just for Fridays for right now, because the other great thing is that they have weekends off, which at the resort they never did. They had to work weekends all the time. So they work Monday through Friday, which during the summer. So right now it's just Fridays because they only have school 4 days a week. And then once they're done with school, they get to work 5 days a week, have weekends off, which is great because that's when we go camping and do our things.
That's when we like rent out our own home for Airbnb, because we can't afford our bills unless we rent out our own home for Airbnb purposes. And then we sleep in our cars. I take pictures of my kids sleeping in the car. I put the kids on the floor at our friend's house. You're a goddamn lie, Jennifer Drake. You are a motherfucking abortion lie. You know what abortion is, Jennifer? It's a fucking mess. You are a fucking abortion.
And they get to be under this amazing.
Take that, Jennifer. I said the word abortion.
They had so much fun. They were like, oh, we had such a great day. Now, of course, ask me again in 3 months whether or not that's still the case with them, because I think
in Idaho they have school Monday through Thursdays, 4 days a week. Yes, that's true.
They're going to have to work hard. But they were like, oh my goodness, we worked so much harder just washing dishes and making the food. It wasn't all that hard. They really enjoyed that. But they're ecstatic. So we had to sit down and really show them, okay, do you see God's hand in all of this?
No, I don't see God's hand in any of this shit, Jen. I see that you're fucking psycho. That's what I see. And I want to know, either you give a mean blowjob, or they're incompetent as fuck at the Idaho State Police. So I'm still teetering with it. You know, mean blowjob or incompetency with the Idaho State Police. I'm still going back and forth.
Lord has completely blessed you. And, you know, we check in with Brenner often. How are you feeling? So here is the last little bit, and then I'll get off. So out of the blue, and I don't know.
Oh, I hope you get off. I think maybe you need to relieve yourself, you know what I'm saying?
I still pray about this, going, Lord, was this really wisdom? But the head of the youth group asked Brenner if he would MC.
Head of the youth group, which would either be Logan or be Steve Menard.
3 weeks ago.
Faithful footsteps, guys.
Maybe 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. MC is you get up there at the beginning, you know, right after worship or before worship, and you give just like a little devotional, something the Lord has talked to you about that week, something that you want to help inspire, you know, share. Maybe it's just sharing a verse. And then of course that's when the MC brings up all the, here, you know, we're going to do our tithes and offerings. Here's all of our announcements. Then goes into his little devotion before worship, and then they do the preaching. And so he gets up there, and I see this later on Facebook Live. He gets up there and he tells his testimony, and he literally tells everybody. So I started vaping, and I got addicted, and I hated it, and la-da-da-da-da, and I was leading 2 lives.
So your son wanted to act like the people that are actually the people that are your youth pastors who talk about, hey guys, I used to be heroin addicts. Hey guys, I used to fucking be meth addicts. Okay. Your son wanted to have a story to match the fucking dudes that you are bringing over to your house, that you're having drive all over town, that you don't know shit about, Jen. And I'm still unclear as to why the fuck you couldn't do the driving around for your kids. Because you didn't have a job, Jen, right? Isn't that correct? You didn't work. In fact, Brian brought in all the bacon, baby. You just spent that motherfucking money. You were buying on Craigslist. The amount of screenshots that Jennifer Drake has in her phone is something like 55,000 screenshots of shit that she wants to buy and bought. She wants to meet up with people on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and buying these hand down fucking nasty ass shit, right? Mattresses and shit like that. Who the fuck buys used mattresses, Jen? Somebody that's probably not going to use them. So what the fuck were they for? Because I can't imagine that you would put your kids up in a used mattress from Craigslist, Jen. So what'd you do with what were these mattresses for, Jen? Because I don't think I believe that they were for your kids.
Here's this Christian boy over here, and he's in the middle. I mean, he's in front of, I don't know, 300 teenagers that are all, I mean, it's a big youth group, and he's telling a story, and part of me panics a little bit because I'm told that he tells this, and I was like, oh, I don't know if you're ready for that. And not to mention, sometimes I feel like sometimes kids get up and kind of glorify, like, you know, I've done this. If you don't have, I know a lot of kids look up to Brenner. And I was a little worried about the fact that maybe, you know, if he shares that, people are going to be like, yeah, I kind of want to try that. But thankfully, he was like, I hated it. It was horrible. I was living these two lives. I was going home and going to church pretending that I was this good Christian kid, and then I was going to work and I was doing all this over here. So
all of what? Jenny was going to work and vaping? I was living two lives. I was vaping at work. And then I was this Christian boy. Are you insane? There's no way that, let me tell you something. If Brenner told that story and I was there to listen to that, and I had to listen to that with my kid, I would raise my hand and say, oh, is it my turn to talk? Okay. Do you think God appreciates you lying? I don't believe any of this shit. Nobody says that, oh my God, I was vaping, I'm living two lives. Jen, what the fuck are you talking about? You make it seem like that your son was some serial killer. Okay, that's living two lives. This is unfucking believable. That the cops in Idaho would watch this insanity and think, woo, we got nothing to worry here. We got 50 red flags up here. And the number one for the Idaho State Police should have been the things that she was saying when you would have went through the investigative process, you would have seen that she is lying in this video to these people, okay? And then you'd have to ask yourselves, why is she lying about stuff? Who goes out of their way to make a video at 9 o'clock in the morning that is, it's not like this is live. She made it and sent it, okay, to send to people. And if you catch parts of this, when you actually do the investigation, then you will see what parts in this is so important. Because Jennifer Drake was Googling things. And she's trying to cover up what she is Googling and putting it on her fucking son. You sick son of a bitch. That's what I think, Jen. And unless you're going to get your son up there, okay, to talk about his vaping and weed and all these experiences that you're talking about in the time frame that you're talking about, otherwise, I think we have a little bit of a problem. You want to know why? Because the little Samaritan company that you guys use, I see all the fucking rules that you must abide by. And let me tell you some of those rules that you must abide by if you, in fact, want to get that motherfucking money that you got from the motherfucking people that you just basically wrote, oh, Brian's back. Here we go. I'm going to have my assignment here. Share it out. Then I get all this fucking money. And let me make sure that you paid those bills, Jen, versus paying for you to what? Your house, your little fucking Craigslist bullshit. You're going to have to fork over some motherfucking receipts because you are in for that ass beating. Yeah.
he shares this whole testimony. That's where we're at.
You're gonna
he shared
lose,
that
girl.
3 weeks ago, and I was just like, well done. I couldn't say a whole lot. I was, part of me was a little panicked because then I thought, before the guy asked for them to work, I looked at him and I said, I need you to know his story. Are you, I don't want to scare you, but you need to just know that this is why he quit his other job, because of this and this. And he's like, we got this. We totally got this. So my only concern was just making sure that Dwayne, who just hired him, at least knew what was happening and why. And he was, oh my goodness. I can't even tell you how many great things have come out of something that was so horrible, because it was something I hoped and wished and prayed would never hit our doorsteps. And Hudson learned a lot through it. Yeah, anyways, that's it. I feel like I could go on with so many just different tangents, but I know you guys have got the gist of it, and I love you. And
I love you. We got the gist of what? What did we, the fuck did we get the gist of? Don't worry, guys. My 10 o'clock live, I believe it was set for 10 o'clock for my Moscow, Idaho trop with the body cam. It's coming, guys. Don't worry. Please. And trust me, it's worth the wait. It's so worth the wait, because you guys are going to be like, holy shit, Lana! Holy shit, this is what you were going after? Oh, shit. It's so good. It is so good. Oh, fuck. We're going to be, Jen Drake is either going to make or break the rest of my life. Because I'm going to get on all fours, all right, and ask Jen Drake to marry me. Because this girl, I think, could sell ice to Eskimos. Jen, if you wanted to be the head of the house and you wanted to call the shots, and then maybe you should have went to chiropractic school. Maybe you should be bringing home the bacon. But you just weren't. You weren't that, and you guys are trying to keep up with the Joneses. All of this is so ridiculous, and the truth is going to come out, and that should be the fear for you, is that this lifestyle, who you and Brian were, and all, Brian literally got up every day and he went to work. I think that man literally loved to go to work because he was away from your motherfucking ass. He loved it. He was like, thank God I get to get up. I will get up at 5:30. Get in the car and get me the fuck away from this broad. I believe that Brian was leaving your ass, and you knew it, because we're going to talk in the next episode about what happened on July. Actually, I'll back up. Yeah, July 30th, Jennifer. Remember what happened on July 30th when Brian told you that we're going to meet at the campground at 2 p.m. at Priest Lake? And to get that all going, why did you guys even stay at the campground at Priest Lake on July 30th of 2019? Oh, it's because you Airbnb'd the motherfucking only home y'all have to some fucking randoms, right? So Brian told you that he had a whole full day of work and that he got lost heading his way to Lake Priest, didn't he? And that he couldn't make it there until about 10:30, because he got lost. And before that, he just had all those patients. Oh, my God. It was just, woo, I cannot believe it. Well, you shouldn't have believed it, and you didn't believe it, did you, Jennifer? Brian Drake said that he had a full schedule that day, that he got lost, and then he finally gets to you, who were with 4 kids at a campground that you'd been at since 2 p.m. He finally gets there at 10:30. I believe that you found out that he 100% canceled his whole afternoon. And if you didn't find out, I'm going to put it all out here, but I do believe that you did find out. He canceled his whole afternoon. And he told his patients that he had to go camping. But now the question is, where did Brian Drake go? Because he didn't show up to where you were, because I have the text messages saying, motive is a motherfucking beautiful thing, Jennifer. Motive. And the only person I see here with some motive is motherfucking you.
Love us, and I know I think it's important that you guys know, because I know you do think that my kids are so great, and I mean, they are great. I think they're great. They're fantastic kids. I am very thankful that we have been able to walk through this. It has made us so close in being able to go through these things. And that there isn't a worse story, because it could have ended so horribly. I mean, when I think about it, I start to literally get panic attacks, because I think of what it's done to my brother Andrew, who literally half of his brain is just the kid. I mean, he'll never hold a really good, decent job. I mean, my goodness, he's almost 40, and he's doing magic shows and guitar lessons. I love him, but that is his life for the rest of his life, because he did not go to college. His brain is half fried, and it could have happened. It could have happened. I love you. I'm sorry that was so long. I love you.
Jennifer Drake was never considered a suspect by the Idaho State Police. In fact, Jennifer Drake was never asked by the Idaho State Police to give an account of what she did on the day of her husband's murder. The Drake's home was never searched for guns or patient files. None of the Drake's electronics in their home were seized, and none of the Drake's children were ever interviewed by Idaho State Police. And trust me, being 16, 14, 12, and 10, they're worthy of it. This is a view.
Hello.
See that? That's one of the cameras she's testing out. That's the outdoor camera. And these were set up in June of 2019. These were never sought. She has a Mexican family here that's Airbnb her home, and she's keeping tabs on them. And this is the video from the front door. You can hear sound. They do not speak English. They speak Spanish. Very, very few words are spoken in English. None of these cameras were sought by detectives. Okay, this is unfucking believable. This is her front door here. Again, the Drake's home, they had cameras, audio included at both exit points, front and back door, as well as a camera inside the home. No footage was ever obtained by the Idaho State Police for March 12, 2020, or the days leading up to Brian Drake's murder. Sad. The following narrative, as everything that I do, is my truth and transparency's best evidence and logic. That's my approach to everything that I do. And what I'm doing is I'm replicating Jennifer Drake's her time before, her time during the murder, and her time after the murder. And I'm taking all the evidence that I've gotten to show what the police will not show, because they didn't do it. But my question is why didn't they do it? Because it's not protocol. Everything that they did was not to protocol. I've spoke to numerous people in law enforcement to ask them about stuff like this, and they are just, it doesn't make sense to them. The first person that you would be eliminating in a situation like this would be the spouse of a murdered spouse.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
This is where you can find the 911 call in this episode right here. The 911 call that does not exist on the Kootenai County records anywhere. And it does not exist in a FOIA request. It does not exist as ever happening until you get to the Bonner County portion. And that's where the Bonner County dispatch said that the reason that they got that call is because it was hitting off of a tower, not because it was transferred. And then that was quickly tried to be covered up by authorities. But guess what? I got that shit on record. So then this part of the video right there, that's a picture that would be taken from Jennifer Drake's phone on March 5th, 2020. And the reason this is really important is because the night that her husband, Brian, was murdered, she told her son, Brenner, who's right here on the right, okay? She told her son, Brenner, hey, make sure that you take pictures of your brother, Hudson, when he's with Lostology, Steven, and make sure you guys get these pictures and blah, 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 blah. This is the night of the murder. Why Jennifer couldn't attend, you can ask Jennifer. But something that everybody needs to look at is that the day that this was taken, this happened a week prior on March 5th. Brenner doesn't have that type of hair, guys. The actual picture, Okay. Brenner has a hat on. Okay. So Jennifer Drake, a week before the murder, okay, goes in her phone, photoshops her son's picture. Okay, so this is Brenner. He has a ball cap on, all right, in the regular picture. She then takes this picture, and her son Hudson has a curly, massive amount of hair. It's curly and it's all over, okay? And something that I just think is very, very weird is why would Jennifer Drake take this picture and transform it to look like this? Why?
That's my husband, and all of a sudden he yells, and he yelled, ow, ow, and I said, what's wrong? He goes, something just hit me, something horrible. I felt like a gunshot just hit my side, and then all of a sudden, it went blank, and I kept yelling and trying to yell at him. I told him if he was conscious, he would have called me back.
Jennifer Drake was asked about guns, okay? This gun is found in Jennifer Drake's photos on 7/5/2019, so just about 6 months before the murder. This gun is a 38.
Okay, yeah.
It's a Glock. Wait till you see it here. Right there. There you go. See? 38. 380. It's going to take 38. It's going to take, you can fill that motherfucker with 38s, right? Calibers. And then that is the exact bullet type that would be found in her husband's body. One bullet, okay? And somebody told me, when I say somebody, Washington State Lab told me that there's 3 MSP Wesson, not Glock. It's a 3, yeah. It's going to take a 38 caliber, right? You know it. And that is one of the guns, the type. There was 3, and that's one of them that they said that would capable of doing what it did to Brian Drake. All right. You're telling me that the fucking cops went through all this shit, found this shit. Why is this on Jen's phone?
What's the address there? He lives at 6811 South Main Street.
All right. This is a picture taken of Brian Drake's leg. The leg that was supposedly twisted and turned, okay? And the leg that, Brian Drake just slipped and fell, okay? And I want you guys to focus the line, the 2 lines across. First of all, there's on his ankle, there's black and blue. This is on 2/9/2020. This happened allegedly, supposedly on 2/4/2020. But there are 3 different points here of bruising, okay? It's bruising on the ankle, the heel part, but then looking straight across, you're going to see what looks to me like something that would be it looks like a crowbar. All right. It looks like a crowbar. If it looks across it, it looks like what he was hit with could be that of a crowbar because it's straight across there and he was pounded. All right. In the ankle. All right. Twisted up. And then, so I don't think that if you would have slipped and fell on ice, that this is what your leg would look like. But y'all can be the judge.
It's right chiropractic in Northside House. Okay, what's his name? His name is Brian Drake. I'm his wife. Okay, what's your name?
Again, remember his story was that he slipped and fell on ice, but nobody, after seeing and hearing like what he said happened, and wait till you see the pictures of this surgery, it's disgusting.
What's your name, ma'am? Jennifer. Jennifer? Okay, Jennifer.
Then on Jennifer's phone, she would then go on 314, drive out to Bonner's Ferry. They would then let her have full reign of Brian Drake's office. Okay. She took everything out of there. Okay. While she was there, she took a picture of the window that was shot out. Okay. She took a picture of the blood on the floor. It was covered with napkins to cover up the blood. She removed the napkins, like the piece of paper that they had down, so that, I don't want to say napkin, whatever the like paper towelish, like they were like medical type. She removed those, had her dad get on his hands and knees and measure the blood stain with a hand, and took a picture of that. Took a picture of the window. This is her taking a picture of the window. This is all found in her phone, okay? Which I think that I would probably have done the same thing, making sure, I got whatever I needed, okay? But I don't know if I would have had my dad get on all fours and put his hand right next to the blood stains and take pictures of them on the floor.
I am going to send people up there right now to check on him, okay? Good. I'm going to send people up there right now, okay? Thank you. Can you guys call me back? Of course. Is this a good phone number to reach out?
Again, these are out of Jennifer Drake's phone.
512-826-3618.
No idea why the fuck she took this picture, but she took this picture.
Yes, please call me as soon as possible. Okay, I will, Jennifer. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.
Back on the record, same group of people. March 16th, 2020. It's now 3:24 p.m.
So this is when she's interviewed on 3/16, her first ever interview with Idaho State Police. Jennifer Drake goes in there with her mommy, and her brother or her brother-in-law. Okay. Why the fuck the Idaho State Police would do an interview with 3 people there should just tell you everything you need to know about the Idaho State Police. They didn't just do this with Jennifer Drake. They did the same thing then on 3/19 when they interviewed Eldora Gatchell. And in Eldora Gatchell's interview, they had 4 people present. And when they interviewed Isaac Funderburg, they had 2 people present at the same time. So in Jennifer's interview, first ever, her mommy and her brother-in-law. And then in Eldora's that happened 3 days later, it was Eldora, her brother, Eldora's husband, David, and her niece. 4 people.
That come to him ever get upset with him for any reason?
I don't know anybody that was upsetting him. I would even ask him on a regular basis because I'm much better administratively of being, and there would be times I'd be like, somebody had texted him and he's like, oh yeah, I got to get back to him, and that would be a day later for him. So I would always ask.
See right there, that's a really good angle of the across that calf that I'm talking about. It looks like somebody is taking something like that's an object that is, I guess you could say, you could say, it looks like a crowbar. It looks like something, and you're going across the leg, okay? It's a horizontal bruise across it, and it's leaving something. This is not somebody slipping on ice in all 3 of those areas, okay? All right, this is a guy that got his ass fucking handed to him.
Is everybody okay? Nobody's upset? Because I'm always worried somebody's going to be upset because they didn't reply. But I wouldn't ask for a certain reason. I would just always, everybody's okay. And he has never...
As far as him, a person not getting...
Then I found another picture of Brian over here. I don't know. His eyes all busted up.
the result that they wanted, or thinking they paid for a service they didn't really get, or becoming injured, or thinking they're getting worse because of a treatment or something like that.
Never had that. The only time
This is Brian's back surgery, allegedly, right here. Brian had back surgery. So not only does this man get murdered, murdered on March 12th, 2020. Before all that, a month before that, February 4th, 2020, he gets his leg bashed in. He has to have surgery. Then something happens, just miraculously, where he needs to have this back surgery, all right? and he has this back surgery on like 8/29 of August, and he is unable to do anything up and until October 15th, 16th, when he goes back to work, 13th. But because of this back surgery, Jennifer Drake submits to the Samaritan Ministries Brian Drake's back surgery bills, okay? Puts them in through the Samaritan Ministries. She puts herself in a day before Brian Drake would start receiving $600 payments from people through PayPal. All of a sudden, Brian Drake's email gets a notification that his password has been changed. Okay? So on 9/27, his password's changed. 9/28, all of a sudden, he begins to receive all of these PayPals. And Jennifer Drake reaches out and says, oh my God, I think you guys paid us in, I don't know why we got money here. You guys don't owe us any money. We would like to return this money. And they're like, no, we're part of the sharing assignment and yada, yada, yada. She's like, oh, we've never been paid before with PayPal. And it's like, I went ahead and did my research and made some calls. You have to say how you want to get paid, motherfucker. So again, she's just laying out this paper trail. But what you must do with this sharing money in this world that they live in, you must take that money and you must put it to those bills. Otherwise, that's fraud. You also can't get back surgery. It's a 12-month, like you must be with the sharing process and paying your dues and paying whatever for at least 12 months before you can even get into that. And you must have a pastor that writes a ridiculous recommendation letter for you. Okay? Well, Jennifer Drake would go on to receive these payments of all of this money through PayPal for years.
I've ever heard of a person who was upset of him in Bonners Ferry.
Now the question is did Jennifer Drake pay her bills, or where did that money go? She got like $21,000 right before her husband was murdered. And my research shows that it went to pay not these bills.
Was, I don't know if he went to the Mennonite church. I don't know what it is. And I remember him showing me the text. Was because his kids, he paid for him and his kids.
I have people in the chat saying that is not back surgery.
Only time I've ever heard of a person who was upset of him in Bonners Ferry was, I don't know if he went to the Mennonite church. I don't know what it is.
Again, yeah, that's a patch of hair down there. I'm talking about that. See that right there? Those staples right there? See that? Talking about the staples.
Is, and I remember him showing me the text. Was because
wouldn't it be a really sick way to pay for a hit is to say that you're using them, like get all these people to give you all this money. Wow, you just racked up $20,000. It's a lot of money.
Because his kids, he paid for him and his kids, or maybe he couldn't pay for them all. I don't remember what the situation. I don't even know that I remember him telling me, but I know it was a man and his kids, and Brian had went ahead to for payment, and he had texted him later that day, and the text, he was very mad because he was like, as a Christian man, how can you be accepting $50 per person? Our treasures are laid up in heaven. Why in the world do you need more money? Like, it was really.
Here's Jen talking to Van Leuven and just going on some tangent and talking about the treasure laid up in heaven. I mean, this broad, he's like, would anybody want to kill your husband because there's an issue out there? Okay, hon?
We thought inappropriate. So I remember the discussion very clearly because I looked at Brian and I said, you need to rise above, and he doesn't know that.
This is how she is talking to the fucking detectives. I looked at Brian and I said, You need to rise above. He doesn't know that you have all this money in bills from becoming a chiropractor and all these student loans.
You've paid hundreds of thousands in school loans and this and that and the other. And I was like, all you need to say is, I'm sorry that that bothers you. Please feel free to see another chiropractor. And he stopped. He didn't see him anymore. And I remember sitting there with him, helping him form that reply. And the guy never replied. And he came back about 6 months later because he went to the other chiropractors who could not help him. And then he continued to seek care with them. He actually apologized. He did say, Brian told me he apologized.
Do you remember that guy's name?
I don't. And I
Was
even,
it-
when
Do you remember his name? Nope.
I was thinking about it last night, the only two people I could think of.
But you remember, I remember looking at him and saying, Brian, but you don't know his name? So it is normal, Jen, not to remember people's names, right? You know what that's for, right, sugar tits?
It was Scott Crawford and this one man.
What about this Paul Jacobson?
I could not possibly I just remember when he told me it was a no-name face to me because I don't know. But he was upset because he just thought Brian was charging too much.
But he left and came back.
He did. I do remember him telling me that he came back and apologized and was continuing care because he really needed Brian's care.
Does Brian discuss with you? Excuse me. Did Brian discuss?
Here we
with
go,
you
guys. This is the grand finale.
His clients and problems they were having, or things they would talk to him about, or just things he found interesting, or something like that.
If it was something weird or odd, like he would tell me if especially if it was somebody.
You guys, he had surgery for the money. You guys, did you guys not listen to what I was trying to explain there? Okay. Brian Drake had surgery, all right, for the money. All right. He had surgery for the money. He didn't have to pay for that surgery, okay? They submitted these bills to the Samaritan Ministries. Their assignment was accepted. Jennifer Drake then started receiving $600 per person 6-7 times a day and received a total of over $30,000. Okay, 30 grand, like that. From September 28th until the day that motherfucker was murdered, Jennifer Drake had in her hand cash $21,000. Okay, what you are supposed to do with that money is pay that bill. Pay that bill. But what I believe I can prove is that that money was not used to pay that bill. I don't believe that Brian Drake knew anything about sugar tits putting in a share assignment like that, because the day before they start receiving these PayPal transactions, his email, his passwords changed. All this shit's happening with this Drake account. Okay. And Brian Drake then wouldn't be able to get into the email, wouldn't see any of this shit. All right. So she says she's handling all of this, and she's just telling him we're racking up all these fucking, oh my God, all these bills. And then over here at the heart of the city, motherfucking people over there at that church, which is this shared assignment goes out worldwide. Jennifer Drake was receiving money from people in like fucking Idaho, people in Iowa, people in Florida. It's a shared assignment. Look up Samaritan Ministries. Okay. It is a way to pay a monthly amount of money. Just Google that shit and look into that shit. That's what she did. And she started receiving all of this cash money. Okay. Every time that Brian Drake went down, cash money records, here we come. But you must pay your medical bills with that. That is not for lost wages. It must go to medical bills. And if you do not do that, oh, honey child, that's a problem. I believe that Jennifer Drake did not do that. Okay. There is financial evidence that Jennifer Drake will have to overcome to prove that she did. And it would just be so simple as say, why would you tell the police that you have all of these medical bills that you have to pay? And after realizing that Brian Drake is dead, you thought that those medical bills would go away too. Okay. I busted my ass to realize how the fuck this broad got a ton of money before the murder. And this is how she did it. And Jennifer, I'm just sitting here telling you about it. You know why? Because I'm so confident that I'm sitting here telling you that I know what you did. People are like, why would you show your hand? I ain't showing shit. Because there's nothing that's going to trump it. There's no receipt that you have that will trump what I'm showing right now. And you may call it cocky. I call it confidence.
I knew that he'd be like, they just found out they had cancer, but he would never tell me any health issues. Not because they're all seem to be the same.
If a client would have been angry with him for some...
Exactly, that is Rico. That caused straight lines. But this broad, she ain't no dummy. Jennifer, that's why I love fucking with you. You ain't dumb. I know that you thought about this for a long time, baby doll. I know you did. I know you did because you fucking worked it, girl. I was like, dude, I got to give it up. Jennifer Drake ain't no stupid fuck. She's smart, but Jennifer Drake, I'm smarter. And I'm happy to say it. But you are smart. But I think I got your card, girl. I got your trump card for sure. And I never play my trump card, honey. But I want you to sit here and watch all this because this is just incompetency by the Idaho State Police. But you trying to go after Dan Moore? Now that's some fucked up shit, girl.
And he would have, had an unpleasant conversation. Would you expect that he would talk to you about that experience or no?
I expect that he would totally tell me about the experience if he had the cognizance to remember to. And the only reason I say that is because we had many seasons. We have 4 children.
Hear that again. We had many seasons. You hear this season vet right here?
There are so many, especially with him gone almost 4 days a week. There were times that there would be a conversation that would come up and I'd say, oh my goodness, this happened to so-and-so. Why didn't you tell me? It's like, oh, totally. Like, there was so much that he did apart from me. Yeah. That if he told me everything, we were sometimes passing the night. I couldn't even tell him things about my kids that I wanted to. So
my kids. I couldn't even tell him things about my kids that I wanted to. How does this fat fuck Van Leuven sit there like a veteran motherfucking detective for the Idaho State Police, sit there and listen to this woman? Because you're not listening, Van Leuven. You're not listening. She's basically telling you. She's telling you it's her kids. It's her life. It's my kids. It's mine. The fuck, Van Leuven? You got hosed by this broad just literally picked your fat ass up and just started chest pumping you, man. Face down, ass up. She just fucking handled you. Or you're involved. Pick and choose. But you need to get off the fucking podium because you suck. You are so shit bad, man. She is talking about Brian and in the same breath saying my kids.
I don't ever think in my gut, like anytime I would ask a question or I would find out about something, he would always answer it completely fully. I did never feel like he was ever not telling me something.
I could never feel like he was not telling me something. This is straight from her first interview. Didn't cut dick, Jennifer. That's what you told the fucking state police. You told the state police. I want to just hit that last part there. This is the finale, Jen. This toast your bun.
Been angry with him for something and he would have, had an unpleasant conversation. Would you expect that he would talk to you about that experience or no?
I expect that he would totally tell me about the experience if he had the cognizance to remember to. And the only reason I say that is because we had many seasons. We have 4 children. There are so many, especially with him gone almost 4 days a week. There were times that there would be a conversation that would come up and I'd say, oh my goodness, this happened to so-and-so. Why didn't you tell me? It's like, oh, totally. Like, there was so much that he did as part from me.
Yeah.
That if he told me everything, we were sometimes passing the night. I couldn't even tell him things about my kids that I wanted to. So I don't ever think in my gut, like anytime I would ask a question or I would find out about something, he would always answer it completely fully. I did never feel like he was ever not telling me something.
Brian Drake's phone would tell a completely different story. On March 10th, 2020 at 7:55 p.m., just 48 hours before Brian's murder,
Love you, Jen.
Brian's phone had left him 16 notifications with timestamps and pictures per notification. The notifications were through the app called Hidden Eye. This app caught Jennifer Drake attempting to enter into Brian's phone 5 different times back to back with incorrect pass codes. Right here, as you see, I show a couple of it. Here it is on March 10th, 2020 at 7:55, 27 seconds. That's the back of the screen. 3/10/2020 at 7:55 and 26 seconds. That's the front of the screen. So it was just like pumping out. There's Jennifer Drake getting caught red-handed trying to break into her husband's phone. Literally, 48 hours before her husband would be murdered. Her nose, her face, her hat, her eyebrows. 5 times she could not put in the right passcode. Her husband would be murdered. Right after this, the next morning is when you guys heard and saw the video that you saw in the beginning. That's what she did in the morning of after not being able to get into Brian's phone. Fucking nuts. That is absolutely fucking nuts. And if you don't think it's nuts, then I pray for you. But Jen Drake, the Idaho State Police have this information and have had this information. Come eat it up. And yet they continue to put out a narrative that Dr. Daniel Lee Moore is the one that killed Dr. Brian Drake, when really the obvious suspect was right in front of their face the whole time. The obvious suspect, baby. The best name I could ever come up with. The Idaho State Police, boom, and Boundary County Sheriffs never considered Jennifer Drake a person of interest or a suspect. Nuts. That's their incompetency. And guys, it's that important. You know why? Because the Idaho 4 case, which you're going to come over and meet me over there now, it's the same motherfuckers that have done the Idaho 4 case. And when you want to talk about there's a conspiracy or this or that, you guys, the level of incompetency, I think, made trump all of us saying there's all this conspiracy out there. They are just fucking bad at their job. Period. Come meet me over Idaho 4. I'm dropping a body, but I'm dropping all that crap. Come on and get it. Let's go. Love you.